Hello and good afternoon and welcome to Love Your Business TV. I'm Adrian Peck. I am the founder of Better Never Stops. We deliver business advice and coaching programs to entrepreneurs and business owners who run or want to run £1 million plus turnover companies. I'm also the author of How to Fall Back in Love with Your Business, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Rediscovering Your Mojo and Enjoying Every Day by Living Your Dream. So we are live this week, as usual, on Facebook and on YouTube. We're also, this translates into a podcast that is available on Spotify and even iTunes now. We're now live on iTunes. So about 24 hours after this show, you can download and listen to me as you're driving around the countryside, or not so much these days at the moment. Actually, when you're going out for a walk, let's put it that way. Let's keep it safe. So thank you very much for all your positive comments from last week's show. We were joined by Richard and Melanie last week, and some really positive comments from that. Thank you all so much. Week on week, the show is building. We're getting bigger and bigger audience with it as well. Predominantly kind of very much more from the people watching it afterwards on YouTube and Facebook. And the podcast had 10 downloads last week. So I'm really, really pleased with that as well. This is a really difficult time. It's a really difficult time for the business community, what we're currently going through. I'm really I want to reach out and help as many businesses as I can during this time. So without further ado, let's look at what we're doing this week. And let's see if I can share this screen with you with the wonders of technology. Here we go. So again, welcome to Love Your Business TV. We are going to look at this week into the formula to success. I want to reach out again. This is a very difficult time for the business community. It's a very difficult time for everybody. This is unprecedented what we're going through. So really what I want to do is hopefully just inspire you a little bit and make you think a little bit differently about your businesses and about what you're currently going through, and hopefully just share an insight with you. It's quite a passion of mine that I have. This is the formula to success. And I want to dispel from you the kind of myth around this kind of natural born talent, and I'm going to show you that actually there's no such thing as natural born talent, and I've got some good stuff I'm going to share with you on that, and hopefully have a bit of fun with you. There's a bit of humor going along there as well, so I want you to just hopefully relax and enjoy that today, and hopefully just lift your spirits a bit, because it's a tough old world out there at the moment, what we're all going through. So this is part of the Survive and Thrive program that I'm doing. Again, it's really about helping business owners and the business community come to terms with what's going on, and hopefully give you some tools and some positive thinking about actually there is a better way to doing all this, and there is light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the whole coronavirus issues going on. So like I say, what I'm going to touch on this afternoon is the success formula, and there's no such thing as natural talent. So it's quite a passion of mine. So let's get started, shall we? The key message I want to get across to you today really is that actually you can achieve anything that you want. You really, really can. And there's no difference between you and anybody else that's successful out there. You can achieve whatever you want. And that's the key message I want you to take away from this really, is exactly that. So if let's look at let's kind of dive in really and look at some key people here. We've got Peter Jones, obviously Lewis Hamilton, Jessica Ennis Hill, and David Beckham as well. All very high achieving people, without doubt. All high achievers in their own way, all high achievers in success. Peter Jones, success in business, obviously Lewis with racing, etc. But what makes them successful? What makes them these kind of very ordinary people that are living successful lives. And there's this kind of belief, really, and this perception that these superstars, these very highly successful people, are different from anybody else. And it's very easy, especially with the media as it is with these days as well, of kind of putting these people up on a pedestal. And then there's this belief that they're somehow magically different than you are. They're superhuman. They have something that you don't have. But actually, you couldn't be any further from the truth. What I want to share with you, and this guy really is quite an amusing story, really. Laszlo Polgár, he was a Hungarian. He set out to really dispel this myth around that there's natural born talent, and he wanted to prove the whole nurture versus nature theory, and really show that geniuses were not born and they could be made. And he wanted to manufacture a genius. Now, I will kind of caveat this bit. Laszlo is a little bit of a nutter, without a doubt. And he set along this project. He wanted to make this kind of his life work. So he set along this project, and he wanted to base this project around chess. Now, I'm not a great chess player in any shape or form, and I certainly didn't realize this until I researched this guy, is that actually sitting behind chess there is a scoring mechanism. There's a scoring mechanism that when you play it, you can be scored and graded against anybody in the world. So he wanted to use this in his project, his genius project. Now, in order for him to create this genius, of course, he needed a partner. He needed a wife to then to do this. This is kind of back in the 1970s. So being the nutter that he is, he actually then put an advert in the local newspaper looking for a wife to then go and join him on this journey, on this project. To cut a long story short, here's Susan. Susan is his first daughter. And from a very young age, he had this Susan basically holding chess pieces, putting chess pieces in her mouth as a baby, and kind of the whole kind of getting used to the chess and chess boards, and he'd play around in front of that type of stuff. So then, remarkably, by the age of 4, he taught her how to play chess. Within 6 months, she was starting to beat adults. At 5 years old, at only 5 years old, she won her first under-19s tournament. And she was also at that time beating her dad as well. So she could actually beat her dad at chess. In 1982, at the age of 12, she won the world under-16s tournament. So that's at the age of 12. She's now the world champion under-16 again, girls. And by the time she was 15, she was the top-rated player in the world. So you go, okay, bit of a fluke, bit of a luck, and his project was arguably successful. But was it? Because then he started on project 2 and project 3. This is Sophia and Judith, Susan's 2 sisters. Sophia is the older one. She's the one in the stripy top. At the age of 11, he'd done exactly the same process, exactly the same project on her. At the age of 11, she was the world under-14 champion. And then in 1989, at the age of 14, she stunned the world by getting an 8.5 out of 9. Now, I don't quite understand what that means, but that basically put her into a grandmaster class, made her a grandmaster at the age of 14. It's the highest rating in history. I believe it still stands, and that's kind of what she achieved. So, okay, that's Susan that's kind of proved this theory. And now we've got Sophia that's now done it as well. But actually then Judith then comes along, and she's a grandmaster by the time she's 15. And she goes on to win the world championship for 10 years running. and she is renowned to be the best player of her generation of all time. So it's kind of quite freaky in a way, but he went out and he proved this project right. You know, he proved that geniuses, not once, not twice, but 3 times could actually be manufactured. Quite scary, really. So what have all these people got in common, and what makes them what they are today, and what they have achieved and what they are today? There's been loads and loads of research over the years around why they're different, why there's been various brain studies that have done. People have had their brains weighed when they've died. They've looked at intellect, they've looked at superhuman ability, and actually there's none of that. As human beings, we are, genetically unique, and there is no difference to us in terms of, whilst we are genetically unique, there is no difference to us in terms of how we are, our formation. Physically, we are no different. Now, arguably, Peter Jones is a very tall, big guy, and he has like size 14 or 15 size feet or something. But actually, that bears no resemblance to what he's achieved in his life. But actually, you are already 1 in 100 billion. If you do the maths in terms of the number of people that have been born since kind of records began and how the population is now, you're actually 1 in 100 billion. So you are pretty unique. Therefore, how can this be a superhuman trait? It's not a superhuman trait. So like I say, this has long been a study of mine in terms of a fascination of what makes successful people successful, and what kind of links it all together. I'm quite an avid reader. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of books on Audible. I particularly like the kind of what's the right word? The biography type books, and listening to people, what they've achieved and how they've achieved it. And what I've done is I've kind of, from the study that I've done, there are some things that link all these things together. And that's the thing that I now want to share with you, is actually what it is that I have found and what does link all these people together. So the first one is passion. If you listen to any sports star, any highly successful person, any high achiever, and then indeed, but most of the business owners, or in fact, all the business owners that I work with and I've come across, is the one thing that pulls them together is the passion they have for what they do. They have an absolute passion for what they do. And that's that kind of first part of that success formula. You have to have passion. You have to be so passionate about what it is. You're living and breathing it every day. You know, if you cut your arm, Lewis Hamilton's got Formula One just running through his veins. He's so passionate about what he does. The second one is you have to have the opportunity. Clearly, if Lewis Hamilton was never given the opportunity as a young child to jump in the go-karts like he did, or he actually started from having a remote control car, would you believe? But if he wasn't given that and wasn't given that opportunity, that passion would have come from it, and therefore would have gone anywhere. There's a story about Michael Schumacher, for instance. Now, Michael Schumacher was notoriously very, very fast in the wet, and there's a very good reason behind that. His mother used to work at the local racetrack, and at a young age he was bought a go-kart, and he would take the go-kart every time that it was raining. Of course, nobody wanted to use the racetrack, so he used to go on there and use the track for free, and he was always driving around it when it was wet and when it was raining. So not surprisingly, he honed his talent when lap after lap after lap when it was raining. So there's no surprises of why Michael became so good that he has done. But he had to have that opportunity. If he was never been given that opportunity, he would never have been the race car driver that he was. The third really, really important element is hard work. and there is no shortcuts for it. Jessica NS here says, I wasn't the kind of kid who'd get A's without even trying. I had to work to get good grades, but I was very organized about what about it, because I always wanted to do well at everything I did. I'm very competitive. Lewis Hamilton, success only belongs only to those who are willing to work harder than anyone else. Michelle Obama, there's no magic to achievement. It's really about hard work, choices, and persistence. And Sir Richard Branson, there's no special thing. There's no such thing as an accidental entrepreneur. It's deliberate, it's conscious, it's hard work. And that's the kind of third step, really. And that is the formula. The formula to success is passion, opportunity, and hard work. You have to have all three of those ingredients to make that success work. And that's it. That's the thing that I found, that when you go through and it links all these people together, passion, opportunity, and hard work. But there is a second part to it. It's actually about how you implement it. It's all well and good knowing the formula, but knowing the formula is only half of it. In fact, it's only 10% of it. The other 90% is actually implementing it. So how do you make it work? How do you implement it? And there's three key steps to it. The first step is know what you want and be driven by your wants. And again, it's about that passion element that really comes through. You have to know what you want. So where is it you're going to aim for? Where is it you want to achieve? And be really, really driven towards getting achieved that. And that's about using that passion, hard work, passion, hard work, and opportunity, all three together to go and drive towards your wants. The second step is decide what you're going to do to get it. Decide what you're going to do to get it. And equally, what are you prepared not to do? You often hear successful people will talk about the sacrifices they've had to make along the way. And it's there in every single story that you read, every single interview that you see these successful people. They have to make sacrifices. As much as there's no shortcuts, you have to do the hard work. There's also things you've got to give up. So you've got to be prepared to understand what it is that you're going to do to actually achieve it, and what you're going to give up to achieve it as well. The third step then, in terms of actually applying the success formula, is be accountable for your decisions, not the results. Be accountable for your decisions and not the results. Now, this is again really, really important, because it's about you not beating yourself up over how something's turned out, but actually just holding yourself accountable for the decisions that you have made. And there's a kind of old adage around, a bad decision is better than no decision at all. It's about taking actions and being accountable for the actions that you take and the decisions that you take, and not the results and the outcomes. You learn from the results and the outcomes. That's how all successful people learn, is you have to go out there and do stuff to learn, and therefore you apply what you've learned to the next steps, and you learn from it and grow. So here it is as a complete set, if you like. Success equals passion, opportunity, and hard work. And to apply it, you have to know what you want, decide what you're going to do, and hold yourself accountable for the decisions that you make. Now, this is borne out. I know plenty of successful people myself who have applied exactly the same formula. None such so as actually my daughter. My daughter, from a young age, decided that after a day out with me in Cambridge, that she wanted to go to Cambridge University. Hannah is not naturally academic, but she worked her absolute arse off, and long and behold of it, long story short, is she's now in her third year at Cambridge University. And it was all driven by exactly that passion of what she wanted to do to get there. A lot of times she made her opportunities to get there. She knew what she had to do to get there, and she worked really, really hard. Now, she also made a lot of sacrifices along the way, in terms of, how hard she studied, by not going out and doing this, doing the youthful things. She worked very, very hard at it. So it can be achieved. And anything is absolutely possible. And it really, really is. You just got to put your mind to it. Last year, I wrote a book, as you've no doubt you know, How to Fall Back in Love with Your Business, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Rediscovering Your Mojo and Enjoying Every Day by Living Your Dream. Now, I wrote that book last year. I'm dyslexic. I left school with very little qualifications, really, and English certainly wasn't my strong point in the school at all. But it's something I want to do. I have a passion for what I do for business owners and how I work with business owners, and I want to get that out of my head and get it into paper and get it into a book. Last year, I was fortunate. I worked with Daniel Priestley on the Key Person of Influence courses with him, and he showed me the way of how to do it. And through lots of hard work, it was 2 or 3 months of literally kind of 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for 2 or 3 hours every single day. I was writing and banging out all my words and building this book. This book is nearly 50,000 words, so there's a lot to it, but something I'm very, very proud of. But it's something I had to really work with and work hard to achieve. So you can achieve it, and anybody can achieve it. So anything is possible. Now, hopefully this is going to go right. I'm going to put myself back on big screen here, and I've got a little bit of fun to share with you, which is I have a straw. I might have to stand up. I don't know if I stand up, you won't be able to see me. But I have a straw, so it's a normal bendy floated straw, and I have a potato. And I just want to show to you that actually anything is possible if you put your mind to it. And you believe that you believe that firm in your head. So I really hope this is going to work properly. But I'm going to prove to you with the potato challenge, it's a great thing to do with kids. All you need is a straw and a potato and a belief. So we need to do our little mantra, which I've got on my mantra here, which is somewhere here. It is I can achieve, I can achieve, I can achieve, I can achieve. Here you go, and it has gone through a little bit. I'll do it again. Okay, hold on. So I can achieve. You have to blow the ends out, otherwise they won't go out again. Bear with. Hold on a minute. It's just quick adjustment. We're back. Right. So I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. And it's gone through again. So there you go. You can achieve it. You can put a straw through a potato with an. So hopefully that's helped you. Hopefully that's inspired you a little bit. Have a little bit of fun along the way. I'm here again next week. Let's just put this back on here. I'm back here again next week, where we're going to continue with our Thrive and Survive program. If you want to reach out to me, please do. adrian.peck@peckuk.com. Go to my web page, which is betterneverstops.global. You can also reach me on loveyourbusiness.tv. Takes you there as well. If you want to get involved in any accountability programs we do, then the one-to-one training, please reach out to me. And I really look forward to seeing you again next week. So stay safe. And remember, better never stops.